Hello everyone and welcome back to the NASCAR Heat 5 Clint Bowyer season mode. Today we head on to the round of 8, the final round of the playoffs to make the championship for Phoenix. As you can tell, I have 15 wins on the season, currently reside first in points, entering the round of 8. Currently, after the reset, I am 104 points above the cut line to start because of 29 stage wins, 15 race wins. Joey Logano with 4 race wins and 4 stage wins apparently on the season currently resides second in points, 10 points above. Then look at the cutoff line. Truex and Kyle Busch are only 0 points above. Denny Hamlin is 5 points out of making the championship 4. Eric Almirola is 13 points out, Kurt Busch is 14 points out, and Kevin Harvick is 18 points out. So definitely thinking about potentially wrecking some people, maybe, possibly, to make the race at Phoenix Raceway a little bit easier on myself because, as you recall from the spring race, it's a little bit tough to get around there. But if the same exact result as what happened in the spring race happens again, I will actually win the championship because what happened there was DiBenedetto won the race and I had to beat out Kyle Busch back to the finish line. So I actually would have won the championship had that been the season finale 500. So anyway, race number 33, the first race of the round of 8 from Kansas, only expecting to get just about a top 10 in this race. And let's see what we can do, hoping to pull off a pit strategy in the stages to get a couple stage points. The worst race of the round by far is going to be Texas. Remember, I DNF'd there in the spring race, so let's do it. So here we are at Kansas, straight into qualifying. The pole speed is a 30.554. Wonder how close we'll be to that. That sounds a little quick for what I expect to be able to do. This is one of the rare racetracks in the game where you can actually run up towards the top of the racetrack, but I'm not going to be trying that in qualifying. I'm going to see how far low I can hook the bottom of the racetrack during this first lap, well, first and only time lap. Can't quite hook the bottom, but I'm going to try the lane above it. Probably could have gone pretty aggressive on the tape because I'm only running 235 right now on oil temperature. But decided against doing that. Probably could have got a couple tenths more out of this lap if I would have really put a qualifying setup in it, but this is just a race setup. So we're definitely off pole speed, but a 31.273. That's 17th fastest. Pole speed was set by Denny Hamlin. Behind Hamlin is Kyle Busch, then Bowman, Kurt Busch, and Logano. BJ with a top 10 starting position. And let's see who got dead last. Quinn Half. And I'm still listed as starting in 17th, so that means nobody had to drop to the rear. And here's your top stories at Kansas. Quinn Half looks a bit slow, isn't that most weeks? Christopher Bell crashed during qualifying. He had to go to the rear with a backup car. And Denny Hamlin won the pole spot. So when it comes to this race, if you recall the spring race, I actually saved gas to get to the end of stage 2, so I could score a couple points there. I expect this race to be kind of similar, with me having to try a strategy to get any points out of it. This is definitely my worst round of the playoffs, because Kansas and Texas, those tracks are not very good to me. I'll just say that. But Martinsville, I could definitely go there and win. But fortunately, I scored enough stage points and playoff points overall throughout the course of the season to where I don't need to worry too much about the round of 8, but I can't be like Kevin Harvick was in 2020 and more or less disregard its importance and get eliminated. But unlike Kevin Harvick, my car is going to be pretty darn fast at Martinsville. His was not. It was pretty much garbage in the Xfinity 500 in reality. So yeah, this is going to be a race very much like Kentucky, where I'm just going to try and hang on to like a top 15 position throughout the whole race and see what I can get at the end. We're going to have to make at least one pit stop in this stage unless a caution comes out, then we can make it all the way to the end, I believe. Nope, no, we couldn't. We need quite a few cautions to make it to the end. So now BJ's dropping back. Might be able to get around him. But at Kansas and Texas, my car is just going to be slow enough to hang on to, 12th spot, but not really good enough to compete for a win. So it's going to look like I'm, slacking late in the playoffs, but trust me, it's just all the car can do. Once we get to Martinsville, I'm going to try and put a whooping on the field. Phoenix is going to be an absolute mess, to put it at the very least, because as we saw in the spring, the tire fall off there is terrible. So I'm more or less going to be, and I've mentioned this before, because this game races dirty with all the bottom wrapping and stuff like that, I'm just going to wreck the other 3 championship contenders. I don't need to play fair if it doesn't. You know, I treat it the same way it treats me. And I can't do the bottom wrapping, so I just have to resort to wrecking people. It's comparably unfair. So yeah, right now this car is just slow. Dropping down to 14th position at the moment. I'm going to try the outside line, just a little bit higher line, but I'm probably just going to lose time up there. I mean, it kind of worked. At least the car cornered. It felt like it was more willing to corner on the top at the very least. Just lacking speed overall. Just barely staying up ahead of Willie B in the 24 car right now. He's probably going to jump to my outside or the inside. He can pass me on either lane. He's just that much better. Yeah, I think we're rolling a little bit better on the top than we were on the bottom. But not by very much. And if I'm not any bit faster, at least the car feels more comfortable running the outside. See, there goes Byron to my inside. Car's sliding around a little bit. So now we're down to 15th. Tried taking a lower entry, really didn't work. But more or less, this race and Texas are going to be races where I just try and hang on to whatever I can get. You know, I'm going to try some fuel strategy in Stage 2, hopefully, like I did in the spring race, but, you know, I'm not expecting very much out of this entire race. Probably going to get 10th at max. Same thing with Texas. I'm actually a little bit worse at Texas, to be honest with you. So we just need to see how this one goes. Too early to start making judgments on how good we're going to do, because pit stops haven't even started yet. The car is basically tight everywhere I run it. You know, tight on entry, the car does not want to commit to cornering. That's more or less what I'm noticing right now. Either that or, you know, the bottom wrapping is so drastic here that it just looks like my car isn't willing to corner when I'm actually running half decent. That's possible. But still, running lap times in the high 31s, I don't think I'm doing very good right now. Although I will say this, I'm a little bit excited for whatever the next NASCAR game is, because at this point, playing Heat 5 almost feels like a chore. And I hope that they get some of, you know, the fun back in NASCAR games, hopefully. You know, obviously iRacing's still out there, and I've never played iRacing, so I can't really judge it fairly. I know the price tag's a little high, but, you know, the physics model seems alright. To be completely honest with you, it seems like, from what I've seen, the wrecks, at the very least, the wrecks looked less realistic than NR 2003, but that's probably just because of, you know, latency and stuff like that, considering it's an online game. Online wrecks in NR never made any sense, and considering that iRacing and NR 2003 are sort of the same game, in a way, even though it's been about 15 years of development, still, comparing NR 2003 and iRacing is kind of like comparing any game that Valve has ever made. Because, you know, they're all somewhat similar in style at the very least, but they're not too similar to where you can definitively say that it's the same game, like NASCAR Heat 5 and NASCAR Heat 4, which are the same game.
Go easy on the tires. Back it down, back it down.
Took a very cautious entry on the pit road, did not want to screw up. The car's a little tight. Gonna back down the wedge. There we go. Let's see if this adjustment does anything. The pit stop's probably going to be terribly slow because I'm adjusting more than one thing on the car at once. But I'm hoping we can get something out of it. Just don't want to fall a lap down and the caution come out. Okay, estimated time is a 15.5. My pit crew's done worse. I'm kind of happy about that. You know, happy about the 15.5, not the times they've done worse. But I will say this. I think we passed a couple cars off pit road because I don't recall being ahead of the 42 car. BJ McLeod right now is the leader. We're 1 lap down. But I think that's all right for now. I short pitted in the hopes that no caution's going to come out, because then I'll get a bit of an advantage by short pitting. Cycle out hopefully in front of a couple cars. And, yep, short pit idea didn't work.
Yellow's out. Back
Great.
down.
And now the game doesn't know what's happening. But Matt Kenseth pits, immediately blows the tire. Doesn't make any sense. So now we're 1 lap down. Great.
All right, you're coming to the green.
I'm going to start a caution.
Almost ready. All right, dig, driver.
I know that the stage yellow is coming up, which will get me back on the lead lap, but I want a shot at stage points.
White flag.
Well, I don't think I'm going to get a shot at stage points, so right here, the goal is get back on the lead lap.
Clear high. Hang tight there, driver. All right, clear low.
Okay. So now we've gotten around the cars that we were racing with for the free pass, except for Kurt Busch.
No points at that stage.
We're back on the lead lap. Definitely not an effective short pit. There's a reason that I don't like to do that. To short pit it very often at all. So I am going to get the free pass regardless of whether or not I pit, so I might as well pit. I was going to restart the tail end no matter what, so might as well get fresh tires to do it, even though I really didn't tear them up at all.
Almost ready. Got one inside. High lane's clear.
So yeah, this was the stage that I saved gas on, because we can actually make it to the end. So if things go bad again, that's going to be the exact same strategy I try. Did Corey LaJoie win that stage? I wasn't really paying attention. I was only focused on my situation. But still, we're back on the lead lap. Hopefully going to pass a couple cars here. We trapped Kurt Busch 1 lap down for right now, which is good news for us, because he's a playoff contender.
Clear high, bud.
Fortunately, Ryan Blaney is not in the playoffs, so he's the leader at the moment, so it really doesn't matter that he's leading.
Hold your line.
How is it possible, though, that Matt Kenseth pitted, and he comes out and he has a flat tire? I think that proves that, NASCAR Heat 5's yellows are fake. Unless you can somehow argue that, sure, he ran over debris. But in this game's reality, debris doesn't fall on the racetrack. That's just not how the game's physics engine works. So that tire went down for no reason. It's just that easy. That caution was planned. By who, I don't know. But I don't think it was the racing gods. I think it was someone in the tower. What incredible luck, though. Because had I tried to save fuel and stay out, once Kenseth blew his tire, I would have actually probably won that stage if I would have tried a fuel save strategy. So you know what? Don't short pit in this game. I've learned from that it's a terrible idea. We're fortunate enough to be back on the lead lap, but I'm definitely not going to try and short pit again. When to start saving? It should probably be now, but I'm not so sure how much I'm willing to try saving right now. Because again, the caution can come out, and that would force us not to save any. So right now it's looking like we're going to have to save 3 laps. So you know what? Screw it. I might as well try saving as of right now. My goal is to stay on the lead lap, and I think I can. But I can't chicken out of my strategy like what I did in Las Vegas. You have to commit to it once you decide to save.
Car on the outside now. Power's called to
And there we go. That shows the pointlessness of saving sometimes. So now I'm going to just have to drive like a madman up through the field. None of my pit strategy is going in my favor
All right, you're coming
right
to
now.
green. Almost
I used up
ready.
all my skill points on the spring race.
All right, let's go. Hold your line. Got one inside.
Five to go.
High lane's clear. Got one down low now.
And, yep, getting brake checked on the restart. Nice. Nice. All right.
Stay in line.
Shove health.
Load's clear. All right, you're clear. Car outside. All right, you're clear.
So yeah, that fuel save gamble might have been the only thing that could have given me stage points, unless I would have committed to running hard, which how would I have known that a caution was going to come out? So that kind of ruined that strategy. So now I'm just going to run full on for the rest of this, because all my strategies are not working at all.
All right, you're clear.
All right, so a non-chaser just took the top spot, or should I say a non-playoff contender. Chase Elliott.
Stay low.
If your name is Chase, can you be a non-chaser?
All right, you're clear.
Well, I might have just ended the stage accidentally. 17th.
No points. That's
There you go.
plenty of range.
The strategy's not working, but I am in the same spot that I qualified in. The stage was won by Chase Elliott. So now let's just see where we can end up, because none of the strategies worked so far. Got caught behind one lap down because of Matt Kenseth's flat tire. The fuel strategy backfired because of a caution. We have one pit stop to make in this final stage here.
Car there on the inside.
Look at Chase Elliott get split on the outside. He didn't have anything for him on the restart.
Careful, still there.
So if you can't score any stage points, try and score a good finish. And that's the goal right now.
Careful, still there. All clear. Car outside.
There we go.
All clear.
That's the aggression you need.
You're clear.
I was taking it too cautious trying to win the race on strategy. You got to win it on brute force, I guess. Or at least make up spots on brute force. Up into 11th spot. I think if we get a really late race caution and get the opportunity to pit, we could put on just one more bit of tape. The thing would run hot, but it would run good for 2 laps. Get to the inside of Reddick here, break up into the top 10. So we have a top 10 capable race car. It's just that none of the strategy played out in our favor, was what was making it look like this car couldn't run this high. Reddick getting me on the outside right here.
Still there.
So maybe not quite top 10, but just on the outside of it. Okay, here we go. Big run up to the 8 car.
Careful, still there.
Look at that. Kevin Harvick actually running the outside. And he's a bottom feeder. I'm hoping that somebody not named Joey Logano can win this race. But Joey's in second, so you know the drill. It seems like only Logano and me can win playoff races for some reason this year. I'm going to extend my fuel strategy. Not going to short pit, because I know what happens when you short pit. You get trapped 1 lap down by freaking BJ McLeod because a car with a brand new right front blows it. Here comes Almirola to my inside.
Inside.
We're not very good teammates.
All clear. Yellow flag.
Believe me. Anyway, we're going to pit, see what we can do on this car. I don't know if it needs adjusted on, to be honest with you, but I'm going to make it... Nah, we're not going to adjust anything. I think a couple cars managed to stay out. I'm not sure if that's a good idea. But fortunately, Logano stayed out. So that means we'll have a bit of an advantage over him. So, estimated fuel, 15 laps. How many laps left in the race? 17. If we're lucky, we can save that much, but I'm not going to try and save it. Actually, it's 3 laps we need to save, because now it's already down to 14. So I'm not going to try and save that much. I'm only going to do it if I necessarily have to, and no cautions come out. You can see that Quinn Half's up in here. He's slowing down a lot of the field, which is good news for me. Also, is that Joey Gase? That's Joey Gase. Ugh. It's getting risky. Chase Elliott getting slowed up by Joey Gase. Fortunately, there we go, up into 7th, the highest we've been today. There goes Harvick swerving for some reason. I thought he was going to pit for a moment, but he was just awkwardly swerving. I think that's because the 48 car of Johnson slowing everyone down right now. There we go. That's a 4-wide moment. Put Hamlin up into the wall. So, look at who the leader is. That's Joey Logano out front. Of course.
Careful, still there. Low's clear.
He stayed out, though, didn't he? Because how else would he have gotten the lead? All right, Chase Elliott, not really going to be able to fight him. I wasn't really paying attention to the battle out front, but Logano already lost the lead, which is good news, but there you go, instant caution. Make the car good for the run to the end. That's why we're just going to take a little bit of an adjustment, lose 16 spots because of our legendary pit crew. Just a tiny little wedge adjustment. You lose 16 spots. Tell you what, I love this pit crew. 10 laps remaining. I'm in 20th spot. Chase Elliott is the race leader. Fortunately, I've got a couple slow cars up in front of me that might make passing a little bit easier. Run on the outside. Gonna cut down to the inside into turn 3.
All clear. Clear high, bud.
Here we go, BJ.
Careful, still there.
McLeod needs to shift into 5th right now because we got to go places.
Hold that line, driver. You're all clear.
Sliding. Probably because of the wedge adjustment, but it worked.
Got one inside. All clear.
Oh man, we can finally run up with the faster cars.
All right, you're clear.
Hard to believe though that LaJoie's been one of the faster cars today. There's Logano still dropping back. Just 8 to go. And finally, Joey, I get to pass you in a playoff race where I'm probably not going to win. How's it feel?
Careful, still there.
Oh, I haven't passed him yet.
Inside. Clear down low.
While the battle continues.
Stay in line. Hold your line.
Using Blaney as a pick right here. How is Almirola still up in the top 10 after I wrecked him?
Still there. Inside.
Blaney, Byron, everybody trying to split me right now.
Clear outside. Got one
Oh, look at
inside.
Joey. He might still be faster than me. Reddick falling back quickly.
Stay high, stay high. All clear.
There we go. Joey lost it. I was fed up with him. I'm sorry. Anyway, short restart to the end of the race. You gotta make Joey lose a couple points. I mean, he's been doing too good. He's my main competition. Imagine if we get him eliminated. Then again, Denny might lock himself in right up here. Which is not good news. Because he's really good at Phoenix. But look at Truex. Dove straight down to the bottom. We're going to get the run up to Tyler Reddick. Yep.
Got one inside. All right, you're clear.
Well, that might have ended the race.
Bring it home.
It did. 7th place. Isn't that where the spot I got in the spring race? But fortunately, Chase Elliott won it. He did not even make the playoffs. So nobody's locked in yet. Everybody finished one lap down. So Blaney and Chase Elliott were stage winners. So I was actually wrong about LaJoy winning a stage. It turns out that LaJoy was bested. Logano still finished 9th, by the way. That's kind of disappointing. Anyway, there is the way the playoffs look at the moment. Man, that was a 5-wide moment. Incredible. But currently, I'm on top by 96 points. Logano 22 above, Truex 9 points above, and Kyle Busch 3 points above. Hamlin is 3 out. Kurt Busch is 23 out. Almirola is 23 out as well. Harvick is 46 points out. Ryan Blaney set the fastest lap. Joe Logano led the most laps. Fortunately, he did not win the race. And on the move was William Byron. Finally, the Heartbreak Award goes to Alex Bowman. Started 3rd, finished 28th. So with Harvick's DNF, I wonder how that's going to play into this final run towards the playoffs. But hey, I thought when he blew a tire, the car was wrecked out. Well, Matt Kenseth blew a tire and finished 22nd. Man, the game can't decide on its own rules. So after a terrible race at Kansas overall, we still managed to bring it home in 7th. So after all the terrible pit strategy and stuff that kept not playing in my favor, Kansas blown tire, that yellow in stage 2, still managed to bring home a top 10 finish. That's what makes for championship seasons. So not really much of a point gain. I'm only 96 points above the cut line, which is still pretty good. Logano is 22 points above, Truex 9 points above, and Kyle Busch is 3 points above. But hopefully we could get 2 of these 3 knocked out. I mean, maybe. It would have to come at Martinsville, but I'm glad that Chase Elliott managed to win the race at Kansas, because that meant nobody got locked in. 19th in points, and he won the race. I mean, Jimmy Johnson is 21st in points, so that's not a very good season overall. Last in points, however, is still Bobby Carter. Man, 70 points the gap between second to last and last. So anyway, the next race is from Texas Motor Speedway. That's not the name of the race in reality. I believe it was like the Echo Park Auto Trader 500 or some arrangement of those words. But anyway, it was sponsored. It wasn't just the Texas 500, but I guess they didn't bother fixing that in NASCAR Heat 5. But I DNF'd at Texas earlier on in the season. Not expecting to do very good here, but I am hoping to finish it and hopefully bring home a few points. I'm definitely going to try and win Martinsville to try and cap off the round of 8. So anyway, the next race is race number 34 from Texas, and I will see you there.